Hey guys, um, got some new comics this week. Thought I'd share them with you, give you my thoughts on them, see what you think. We'll start with the more disappointing ones and work our way up to the good ones as usual. First, kind of sorry about this one. The disappointing one is City of Bane, Tom King, Batman. He's been very hit and miss lately. He'll do several really good issues, and then I don't even know what the right word is. They'll be lacking. Um, I'm wondering if it's personal bias on my part because I don't like John Romita Jr.'s art. I just don't. I never have, going back to the 90s when he worked on the X books. This picks up right where the last one left off. Um, we've got Batman and Catwoman basically moving through the streets of Gotham, taking out the Rogues Gallery. We get a monologue from Batman basically explaining the process of how he's going about taking back Gotham. He has had a plan from the get go. Even his defeat was part of his plan, although that did spin out of his control and he actually was taken out and Catwoman had to rescue him. We also see Thomas Wayne, Flashpoint Batman. He had been on the verge of executing Damian Wayne, but found that he could not do it. And we find out that basically I'm umming and basically, and I'm not going to do it. All of it was a setup, part of Batman's plan to retake Gotham. When Thomas can't shoot Damian, Damian escapes, and the entire Bat family, with the exception of Nightwing, is waiting to back him up. And they attack Thomas Wayne, and he proceeds to beat the ever living crap out of all of them. That he's bloodied, he's bruised, he's broken, but by the end of it, he still walks out of there, and they don't. So we're left with him and Bane preparing to confront Catwoman. It's just not grabbing me, and it seems to be a thing with Tom King. Either he's great and knocks it completely out of the park, or he just kind of phones it in. And I hate to say that because I love Tom King, but this one just didn't do a whole lot for me. And we've only got 4 issues left in this. This is 81. It's only going to 85, and then it switches over to Batman and Catwoman. Second, we've got the new Dark Label book, Joker Harley. This is an alternate reality story. It is profiler Harleen Quinzel working for the Gotham PD, tracking down a serial killer called the Joker. They do not have their normal relationship, Harley and the Joker. She comes home to find her roommate, who looks a lot like Poison Ivy but is not Poison Ivy, killed, and this sets her on the path of trying to track down the Joker. Visually, it's extremely interesting. It fades back and forth between black and white and almost photorealistic color pictures. When it's in black and white, it has a very noir feel to it, like a 30s detective novel, which, this is a detective story. She has a lot of pushback from her male colleagues, with the exception of Jim Gordon, who is on her side from the get-go. Visually, it was absolutely stunning. Story-wise, it didn't really get me. It didn't grab me. And I am at a loss to tell you why. I may continue on with this one. I may not. Let's open it up and let you see some of the visuals I'm talking about. So you get almost a noir feel to it. Everything that takes place in the past is in black and white, like we see here. And then again, you jump to what I called, these almost photorealistic full color pictures. And there's the roommate that she finds dead in the apartment. I don't know. The story it didn't grab me. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good, intriguing story, but it's not like the Harley Joker story we had last week, which deals with her beginning involvement with the Joker. That one just grabs you and hung on tight. This one, not so much. I may see where it goes. We'll see. We'll see what happens. To go along with this one, I had, and I mentioned this on Facebook, a Joker Year of the Villains one-shot by John Carpenter. John Carpenter, the director, screenwriter, musician, who's done such horror movies as The Thing, and he started the Halloween franchise, and all these great movies and all these great stories. He wrote a Joker story. And it deals with the Joker breaking out of Arkham and dragging along with him a young man who suffered from mental illness, who was abused by his father, was neglected by his mom, who killed his father in retaliation, and the mom basically takes the dad's side. It's pretty brutal. And the Joker, he names him, if I remember correctly, Six of Spades, and drags him out of Arkham with him. And they proceed to go on a spree around Gotham, dressed as Batman and Robin in some chintzy Halloween costumes, committing various acts of violence. The guy is resisting. He does what he can to try to mitigate what the Joker's doing because he recognizes the difference between him and the Joker. At one point, he actually says the Joker's not crazy. Crazy people don't think like this. And actually, that's something that's covered in this. The difference between someone who is truly psychotic and someone who is someone who's fundamentally disturbed. And I lack the background to really explain it to you well. I suppose I could read it to you. Harleen is explaining the difference between a psychopath and... Let me find the passage. Being depraved, she's giving a class to GCPD, and a person in the audience says, you're saying somebody who murders and mutilates innocent people isn't crazy, to which Harley responds, being depraved doesn't necessarily mean a person is psychotic. Psychosis involves a break with reality characterized by hallucinations or delusions. Hallucinations involve seeing or hearing something that isn't there. Delusions involve maintaining a false belief that even if logic contradicts it. Most states use two criteria to determine criminal insanity. An individual only has to meet one. A person is considered criminally insane if, at the time of the offense, they were not in touch with reality to know they were committing a crime, or they could not stop themselves. So that's the distinction between the Joker and the young man, Six of Spades, who he's dragging around with him. The Joker is completely methodical in his actions. He knows what he's doing. And these two books go hand in glove together. The reason I haven't shown you this book yet is because I can't find it. I don't know what I've done with it. I remember showing some books to a friend, Greer, and I can't remember if I left the book with her to read or if I left it somewhere where I was having lunch reading my comics. I don't remember, but in any event, I can't find it. So, yeah, those two went very well together, but I don't have it to show you. All right. Let's move on to some of the good stuff. Hickman's X-Men #1. This is the start of the new franchise of X books, which take place after House of X and Powers of X. And the Summers family et al., Clan Summers, which consists of Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Havoc, Cable, Prestige, Rachel Summers, and a Summers brother named Vulcan, who I was not even aware was a person who existed. Apparently he became part of the family in the 10-year period when I wasn't collecting and died, and now he's back, and, well, okay, comic book logic. Death is no worse than the common cold. You'll get over it. In any event, they have built a house on the moon, the Summer House. And they are basically carrying out missions to bring mutants who are held at various places around the world. For instance, they attack a research facility where mutant children are being held, and then they take them back to Krakoa. It was an interesting little start of the book. We get the idea of the continuation of what happened in House of X, Powers of X, more of Hickman's rewriting of the Bible, as I call it. There's a wonderful little bit with Magneto here where he, Polaris, Storm, Cyclops, they're the ones raiding the facility. And Magneto is cheered when he gets back to Krakoa. He has children running up to him and thanking him and telling them, they can't wait till they're old enough to join him and fight with him. And he kneels down in front of one of them and he says, "I am fighting this war. I have always fought this war so that you will never have to fight at all in your life." And that is Magneto's mission statement in one shot right there. Or maybe his new mission statement. In any event, one of the most interesting things about this book, a friend has recommended some editing software that will basically let me be able to take pictures and show you pictures so we won't have to fumble around like this anymore. But anyway, at the back of the book, there is this little picture showing the layout of the summer house. And it's really interesting. And I already put a picture of this up on Facebook, and several people got it immediately and saw what it was immediately. I'm having trouble getting this to where you can see it. These rooms right here. Notice the adjoining doorways here and here. This is Jean Grey's room. This is Wolverine's room, and this is Cyclops' room, with adjoining doors to Jean Grey's room. My friend Alexi has said, new society, new rules. One of the laws that the mutants made was make more mutants. That was, contributed by Harry Frank. Probably the funniest comment was made by Priscilla Spencer, who said, she christened that the Jean Grey orgy den. And I got nothing. Maybe Jean's getting her cake and eating it too. I don't know. New world, new rules. We've got. I always feel like I'm mispronouncing his name. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Captain America. And again, he's just doing a great job with this. He's telling stories that have good thematic issues with good social commentary. He's not being ham-fisted or clumsy about it. He's not preaching. The best Captain America stories have always been those that focused on Cap being a man out of time, with the morality, an augmented morality, I'll say, of the 1940s. And of course, he is, the living embodiment of the promise of the American dream. And what we've done with this whole series is we've basically had Cap having to deal with, if you'll excuse the expression, the clusterfuck that was in the preceding books where, Cap was never Cap. He was a fascist. He was Hydra. From the moment he was made, everything you knew about Captain America was a lie. And every Captain America fan and every comic book fan and just about everybody everywhere rose up in revolt and with one voice said no. And to the point where Marvel had to basically take a back step and said, no, we didn't really mean it. It was not real. It was, like that dream from Dallas all those years ago. Anyway, Coates is telling that kind of story, but he's telling it well. Cap is having to deal with the reality of America has rejected him because of everything that happened in the Secret Empire storyline. He's having to deal with, an America where the American values and dreams that he embodies and believes in are not shared by everyone and not supported by everyone. And yet he still has to somehow fight for that dream and that reality. And again, there's the one little bit, I already posted a picture of it earlier. Just a wonderful little bit with him and a former girlfriend who apparently they were together when I wasn't collecting. But she meets him in the park to pass on some information, and he's gone underground. He was framed for the murder of Thunderbolt Ross. And in it, she talks about how, she doesn't know if they can trust the authorities, the police, how America has changed, and she doesn't know if he can save them, that they have to save themselves. And him being Cap, he says, who would I be if I didn't try? You probably can't even read that, but, you get the idea. And that's who Steve Rogers is. That's what he does, right? And again, Coates is just telling, I think, the best Captain America stories we've seen in the past 10 years. And I'd really love to meet him sometime. I don't know if he does cons or not, but if he ever does, I really want to meet him. All right? Here we get to the good stuff, the very end. Once and Future, 2 and 3. What I predicted turned out to be true. Arthur returns, but he's zombie Arthur. The king is undead. He's brought back by British nationalists who want Britain for Britons. Here's the problem. When they wake him up and he tests their blood by tasting it, they're Anglo-Saxons. There's more, Anglo-Saxon blood in them than British blood. And Arthur, 500 AD, went to war with the Anglo-Saxons to keep them out of Britain. He died fighting the Anglo-Saxons. Some depends on which version of the story that you read. He immediately kills all of them. The woman, who may or may not be Morgan, she may be somebody else, I'm not sure. She tells him that she has a Galahad for him, who has been raised for the purpose of, I suppose, to bring him the Grail. These two issues culminate with Gran deciding the best way to keep the prophecy of Arthur's return from happening is to blow Galahad's brains out with a sniper rifle. Absolutely love this book. It's turning the Arthur legend on its head. And Gran, who I don't even think we've even heard Gran's name yet. She's just Gran. She's dragging her poor hapless grandson along with him, and he's literally doing the Arthur Dent thing from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where he's basically questioning everything, and everything is what? And she just pats him on the head and keeps on dragging. They kidnap his not his girlfriend, because they just went on the first date, who's a librarian at a university. And, you find out apparently there's this whole secret society of people who've worked at fighting the darkness. She's not part of it, but she gets dragged into it, and she goes along with it, surprisingly. And it ends with basically Gran being on the purpose of being on the verge of blasting Galahad's brains out. I want Helen Mirren to play Gran. This needs to be a series. This needs to be a movie. It's just so darn good. This is probably my new favorite book, and I want it to just go on being as magnificent as it is. Anyway, that's this week. Hope you enjoyed. Hope I encouraged you to go out and try this stuff out. People, my friend Greer, she was, she'll check out, what I've got when I go to get lunch. And she was, she and several other people, whenever I have shown them the new stuff, they're usually surprised because, they're always, they don't know what comics are. And the adult subject material, the quality of the artwork, it's always a surprise. And I guess that's a big part of why I'm doing this. I want to expose people to this so that they can have an opportunity to, share in this thing as well. LeVar Burton said, of course, reading Rainbow, anything you can get a kid to read is acceptable. If a kid will read comic books, let him read comic books. And I don't know if that's a real quote or not, but it sounds like something he would say. So that's part of why I'm doing this, to, just try to get people out there and just share this thing with people that I love. I've been sick for a couple of days, and of course I've been working like a dog. But I should be getting a little bit more free time now. And so I'm going to try to get out and see. There's several movies out that I want to review for you guys, and probably going to start with The Joker. Might do that tomorrow after class if I'm feeling better. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's this week. I'll see you next week when I've got more to share. Take care.